Gary, the Minerals Council Chief Executive Tanya Constable said the government did not know how to integrate the vast amounts of renewable energy without the system falling over. She also said they have gone too hard, too fast, and it has meant that businesses and households have struggled across Australia. I think she's stating the bleeding obvious there, but good on her for doing so, because we need to hear this from these industry groups. We are close to crisis point, Gary.
And I think we're past the crisis point, Rita. This is affecting our national sovereignty, and as Prue said, parallel universes. I hope the bloke is soon unemployed, and I really mean that. Chris Bowen, I said a few years ago, would be when the epitaph of the Albanese government was written, he'll be front and centre, and he should be, because this bloke has almost single-handedly destroyed the personal economy of many Australians and the prospect of us making anything, anywhere, anytime in Australia. How can our future be made in Australia when our current is currently made overseas, and we have no prospect of actually improving that until you get more electricity at a cheaper price? That was our natural advantage. We used to burn lots of coal and we got cheap electricity, the world's cheapest. Now we're amongst the most expensive, and the rest of the world is saying, well, Australia's doing it, we don't have to, because our major trading partners aren't even following the Paris stuff. I mean, Trump said no, China doesn't do it, India doesn't do it, Indonesia doesn't do it. What the heck are we doing to ourselves? Albo is to blame though, Rita, because he's allowing this bloke to run riot over your economy, my economy, everybody's economy, all of our personal economies and the nation. It's wrong.
I think we forget just how ideologically left Albo is, because he presented himself as a safe pair of hands, a moderate. He wasn't going to be woke. Remember that front page of the Daily Telegraph? He has been in the socialist left faction of the Labor Party his entire pretty much adult life. This is who he is. I don't think the government that he is overseeing is by any means an accident. This is what he wants. Now let's check in with the Victorian Treasurer, the new Treasurer down here. Treasurer Symes, according to the Herald Sun, her staff have been told to, and I quote here, stop using economic terms and phrases in all communications, emails, etc., with the Treasurer, as she doesn't have a clue what they are talking about. Prue, that just sounds really promising for a state with the biggest debt in the country, broke state, and we've now got a Treasurer who struggles with basic economic terms.
Well, what it's telling us is that the bureaucrats, the unelected bureaucrats, are clearly running the Treasury, running the government, and they ain't been doing a very good job. When you look at Palace, you know, and the fact that he left this huge debt, he could understand economic terms and he still made an absolute schmozzle of it. This woman is not dumb, she's a lawyer, but of course she's come up through the ranks of the unions, you know, so a typical Minister of Labor, that they don't really have any real world experience other than, you know, shuffling papers and being told what to do and say.
Oh, Gary, I do wonder whether this is a bit of a stitch up. Do we take this on face value, this email about the Treasurer not understanding basic economic terms? It seems too outrageous to be true.
Yeah, well, she's at a loss because she's no prophet, let me tell you. This is an ebit da dodo. I mean, Victoria is a basket case for a lot of reasons, Rita, and the trouble is it's the fact that they've been running on hard left philosophy, government can solve everything. But the dangerous part about that is they don't trust individuals, so they've got to tax them more. They don't trust individuals, so there's more fees and charges and legislation and more control over our everyday lives. And this is the opposite to whatever nirvana is. I mean, this is totally dystopian, and Victoria is a mess. But Queensland is now trying to actually outdo Victoria. The current government has inherited a big mess, a bigger mess per capita, a greater debt. So there's a lot of pain in this country, not much gain, and electricity is at the heart of it. Victoria drove the anti-gas, anti-coal thing harder and faster than everybody else. and they're now paying the price. We need cheap electricity or else we got nothing in this country.
Now let's talk about the Prime Minister's big property win. We know most Australians are dealing with a cost of living crisis, but the Prime Minister's decision to rent out his $4.3 million beachside home, it's been referred to as a coastal retirement home. At the moment, he's leasing it out, but it's not just the rent that is going to come in handy. He's going to save anywhere between $45,000 to $90,000 per annum in tax, according to some analysis done on the negative gearing that may be used here, Prue. Not bad from a PM who presents himself as just an everyday man.
Well, Rita, what's the definition of an optimist? I mean, this is astounding that this guy who's not reading the polls clearly may be out of a job unless the Greens prop him up and people who go to the voting polls don't realise how deluded they'd be if they voted for him. He may be leading that joint. And, you know, what's that Dusty Springfield song, Wishing, Hoping, Praying? Well, this guy is going to have to go to a higher political power or something, higher power to get himself out of this trouble and find himself ensconced in this place. You know, the man, I don't believe, will actually win the election. I know people are saying he might have to be able to form a minority government, but I think there's a higher power and Peter Dutton will get a majority, and let's pray that he does for the sake of this country.
Oh, that's harsh. Gary Prue wants to send Albo to his beachside home early. If he does that, he's not going to get the negative gearing benefit.
But Rita, we've spent a lot of taxpayers' funds getting the road to that beachside retreat right. So I hope he finds reverse gears and parks it in the garage real soon. But look, the serious part is this. The guy, you may have not heard this before, Rita, is the revelation on this program. He was born and raised in public housing, and he's still now living in public housing.
No.
These magnificent views of, yeah, it's true. I wanted to break that to you. So look, he's enjoyed the property market extremely well. The thing I recall, and I don't think the Howards would mind me telling this story, but Jeanette Howard once said to me, she said, we never rented out the family home, that they left when they moved into the lodge, that they left completely mothballed for all those years John Howard was Prime Minister. And they never wanted to, because she said, could you imagine what people would make of it if we were renting it out while we were in a taxpayer-funded accommodation? Albo doesn't care. I mean, this bloke's just having a great time. He's living in public housing and racking up a whole lot of private assets. So I guess good luck to him. He loves capitalism, but he wants us to pay for it, if you get what I mean.
Prue McSween, Gary Hardgrave, thank you so much for your time this evening.
Pleasure.